unpacking the secret tax that nobody talks about, where massive, massive fundamental changes have happened over the last 24 months. We're going to talk about it right now. It's a big tax. It's a property tax. Stay tuned. Ooh, this
morning.
is a saucy one. Billy Drury, the old man in a young man's body. How are you this morning?
I'm well, thank you. Addressing a big topic with the property doctor of 30 years.
Yeah. I was in a cafe on Saturday talking to a cafe operator about this tax, and there was 2 or 3 major components that he didn't understand. He was an advanced property investor, by the way. And when I sort of sat down and explained it and broke it down, he was like, ooh. So the face of investing is going to change off the back of this tax. It is changing off the back of this tax. It is a big tax.
Yeah, and it's known as bracket creep. As property values rise, more investors are going to be impacted, leading to increased tax liabilities, and that is a phenomenon known as bracket creep.
Did you just read that out?
Yep, that's a definition.
Oh, okay. What's the definition of?
That is the definition of bracket creep. So
Bracket
can
creep.
we just get straight into it? Can I just pull up the table? What are we talking about here?
Land tax!
Enlighten everyone.
So what's happened? The first time in the history of New South Wales, they have decided to freeze the land tax threshold, so you pay more land tax as the years come on. So it starts creeping over the bracket, so you start paying more. It happened with stamp duty back in 1986 when they froze the stamp duty thresholds. It was equally spread across all classes. So the higher class paid the higher tax, the lower class paid the lower tax for stamp duty. They froze the brackets.
Yep.
Now all property values, when they sell, are in the highest stamp duty bracket. Everyone is paying the highest stamp duty. They have now adopted this move with land tax.
So it's for land value above $1,075,000. Tax is calculated as $100 plus 1.6% of the land value, exceeding the threshold. So the changes are from 2024, 2025. You could see there used to be a bracket change, whereas this is frozen. First time, 10 years. You can see the last 10 years there. It also changed foreign purchaser surcharge duty, which increased from 8 to 9%, and surcharge tax from 4 to 5%.
Who cares? I'm worried about the mum and dad investors, not the foreign guys. So guess what happened in those years? So if for anyone who doesn't know what land tax is, Billy, can you explain it?
I can. Yeah, I can.
Don't read it out.
It is a land tax. Property values exceeding that threshold.
Bill, if we wanted to use ChatGPT, everyone's got it. You don't need to ChatGPT then read it out.
That's straight up what it is, though. There's nothing more to it. It is a land tax on property values that exceed that threshold.
Yeah. So to give you an idea, in our area, we got a house. We have houses for $2 million. If you buy that house for $2 million, and it's your own, it's your only investment, you are probably going to be up for about 15 grand of tax a year because you had the house. If you buy two of those houses, the second house you'll buy, you'll be up for about 30, 25,000, 30,000 that year for that second house in land tax. I.e., I got a couple of properties, I got a house. I got a house I rent out in Narrowena, and I have to pay $650 a week before I pay the mortgage to the tax man. It's big. So now that they've frozen these land taxes, so what actually happens is the government assesses the value every year of your property. They don't just assume that you're going to tell them what it's worth. They don't assume to know what it's worth. They get the valuer general for an assessment. So the valuer general is not far off the property, not far off market value these days. So what you're going to notice, ladies and gentlemen, is a swing towards strata property. And the reason you're going to see that is purely off land tax. So for every, say, for instance, if you own 3 or 4 units, that could be the same net effect on land tax than one house. And I'll word it another way. If you own $2 million worth of units, say 4 units for 500K, or one house, you will get smashed on the house for land tax and not on, and pay no land tax for the 4 units of the same value.
Only because you may come under that threshold, right? But these,
yes. So with units, they'll say, what's the land value, the block of land worth, divided by 10, because there's 10 units in the block, approximately.
Yeah. And these changes, from what I can find online, are expected to create an additional $1.5 billion in revenue. So this is a huge ticket item, huge ticket. The other thing,
again, you poke the farmer. You make we called the investor yesterday the farmer, and if you tie the farmer's hands and legs up, he won't be able to produce the crop. So if you make it harder for the landlord with these costs, they are going to make it harder for the tenant. Why? Because they're going to sell their properties because it's too expensive to hold, or they're going to try to recoup some from the tenants because the property tax is crazy.
Yep. And these thresholds won't be revisited until June 1st, 2027. So there's quite a long period there where property values will increase. More investors will be impacted by this. So it's quite important.
Well, I've worked out that a landlord is going to be paying $3,300 in year 1 more just because of that freezing of the of that bracket creep. $6,600 in year 2, $9,900, $1,100 in year 3. They will be paying, as a result of this bracket creep, $11,000 per year more than what they're currently paying for supplying a property to a tenant. And what I did say to Billy this morning before we went on air is I don't know any other asset class that penalises like this. If you own $10 million worth of stocks, you don't have to pay any sort of stock tax, land tax, no tax. But if you decide to choose property and be a landlord, you get smashed.
Gorilla. It's a gorilla squeeze. So there you go. I guess it's relevant to bring this on air. Not many people are talking about it. It is going to have an impact. It's good to be aware of. And it's funny how it flies under the radar, even to someone like a friend in the cafe who's a seasoned investor. So, it's...
Well, no one's grabbing these guys. The only one grabbing these guys is their accountant at the end of the year. So a lot of these guys haven't even had the chance to talk to their accountant about this bracket creep with land tax. So they're just only now they're starting to speak to their accountant. They're going, I'm paying how much land tax this year? And they're going, what am I doing this for? Why am I getting so hammered? So it's either A, sell the property, or B, put your rents up to try to subsidise the tax that you're getting paid.
Yeah.
And then they've had triple the interest costs because it went from 2% to 7%.
There you go. That's what we're finding. The net effects of land tax in our market. Giddy up. It's going to be a big 2 years. Never seen that threshold frozen before. I'm just going to finish. That can be our closing statement. Just
What's Lisa got to say?
I think we've got a few comments here. Lisa's got a client paying $400,000 tax bill this year. I do know the property. Wow, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, listen to this. One property, they have rented for $160,000 a year, as an example.
Yeah.
Their land tax is $150,000. They have to pay $150,000 every year. That was last year. They just got their land tax this year. Guess how much it was?
150 to tell us.
400K. So they got 400K in land tax. They have to pay the government this year, 400,000, and their rent was 160,000.
Crazy. That's absolutely insane.
One property. So single title, Torrance title property is dead. It's going to be very hard to rent houses in the years to come because landlords don't want to hold those assets any longer. And strata title assets is the way they're going to go, if they go, or they're just going to get out and go put their property in the stock market because they don't have land tax. Congratulations to the stock market. Dumb government.
There you go. Thank you, Mark. Very insightful.
Thank you, Billy. Thank you, old man in the young man's body.
Have a good day, everyone.
Bye.